JMU Football found its way into the national spotlight this year, going an unprecedented 11-2, ranking within the AP Top 25 poll for most of the season, hosting College Game Day, and even taking on the NCAA, challenging for a waiver that could have possibly given them an NY6 bowl berth. It truly was a roller coaster of a season, but now Coach Curt Cignetti has left for Indiana, taking about 90% of his staff with him, and taking about 10 transfer players from JMU as of the time of recording. Though, Athletic Director Jeff Bourne worked very quickly with his staff to get Holy Cross head coach Bob Chesney. And with him being thrust into the task of being JMU Football's next head coach, how will he handle it, what will he do, and what will the future look like? Before I get into this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment, and subscribe to help me get this channel off the ground and boost it in the YouTube algorithm. I'd really love to get this channel going to keep making more content like this, as it's something I truly do enjoy. But anyways, back to the video. With the time constraint Coach Chesney was given, it was a very difficult task for him to get players together and a coaching staff. And yet, he has somehow made a lot out of it, reminding me of something.
Avengers! Assemble.
To start, he brought Dean Kennedy with him, formerly the offensive coordinator and QB coach at Holy Cross. Presumably, he will be doing the same role at JMU. While many JMU fans will look back at Cignetti's staff and look at Tino Sunseri, the quarterback whisperer, I think Dean Kennedy has done more than enough to show that he can do the same in his own right. While Tino has worked with many great quarterbacks like Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, Cole Johnson, Todd Centeio, and Jordan McLeod, I think Dean Kennedy has shown he can do the exact same in making NFL caliber quarterbacks with his likes of Kyle Trask, Anthony Richardson, and Matthew Sluka. So with that in mind, I really do think he can do something very similar at JMU with a quarterback room that is absolutely loaded. We have presumable starter Dylan Morris, we can talk about that more in another video, and even the new signee JC Evans, a player I really do believe has a very high ceiling, and he has even shown shades of Anthony Richardson in his tape, my pro comp for him, but that's a quarterback that Dean Kennedy knows very well. As an offensive coordinator, Kennedy's scheme has proven to produce a lot of points, producing 36.9 on average for Holy Cross in 2023, a stat that ranks 7th nationally. His scheme last year consisted of a lot of power run from the quarterback position, something Matthew Sluka excelled at, but that is not Dylan Morris' skill set. Dylan Morris is a true pocket passer, ranked number 5 in the pocket passers of his class coming out of high school. That's something I'm really actually looking forward to. I think Kennedy will change his scheme well because at Assumption College, they did have more of an air raid offense, and it worked really well. So I'm very excited to see the changes made for Dylan Morris in 2024 if he is the starter. In terms of his offensive line, he is retaining Coach Robo from Cignetti's staff. Robo was the acting head coach for JMU at the Air Force game, where I think keeping continuity at the position will help the O-line next year. In 2023, the Duke's O-line really did play a game of musical chairs, with injuries happening all over the line. There was never really a consistent theme of who was starting. That's something that I really hope we don't have to deal with this year, because the starting 5 we had last year was incredible. It just fell a little bit downhill after we had to play that game. Though we are losing NFL caliber right tackle Nick Kidwell to Indiana, we have gotten left tackle Tyshawn Wyatt back out of the portal, which I think will be a huge boost for this O-line and give them a leader in 2024. Through the transfer portal, he has also been able to grab Hunter McLean from Virginia Tech, Jesse Ramel from St. Francis, Patrick McMurtry from Holy Cross, and O-line signings Kobe Campbell, Deacon Rawls, and Evan Bushon are coming in to be that future of the Duke's O-line, which I think gives the room a very bright future and a lot of potential for Robo to work with. This is a position group that I think will actually be really good for the Dukes, probably one of the best. I really do think that is a good thing for JMU in 2024, especially since we will probably have a pocket passer starting at QB. The wide receiver room in 2024 is a very interesting one for the Dukes, seeing as Mike Shanahan, Tino Sunseri, and all 3 starting wide receivers have left, either via the transfer portal or the draft. And yet, somehow, I really do feel really good about our wide receiver room. Justin Harper, former ODU tight ends coach and Towson wide receivers coach, has come in to lead the group, consisting of a lot of inexperienced young guys, but they do have a lot of potential. While the depth chart is currently obviously unknown, JMU is very deep at the position with names like Amarian Dollison, a player who in limited reps has shown a lot of promise as a wide receiver 1 for the Dukes, Maxwell Moss, a personal favorite of mine to watch, Ymir Knight, a slot machine, who I see as that kind of Swiss Army knife kind of guy. He just does anything you ask him to do on the offense, and he does it well. Taji Hudson, a player who did start higher on the depth chart than a 1,000-yard receiver Elijah Surratt, and Mississippi State freshman transfer Nakai Poole. Harper does have a lot to work with in this room and is my personal position to watch for the Dukes in 2024 because it will influence a lot of our success if we do turn to that air raid system. In the backfield, JMU lost a lot of talent following the 2023 season. All three of the Dukes running backs that were given significant reps have left JMU, where Latrell Palmer has declared for the NFL draft, and running backs Kaelon Black and Tyson Lott have gone to Indiana following coach Kurt Cignetti and running backs coach John Miller. While we don't yet know who the running backs coach will be for the Dukes in 2024, Chesney and his staff have been absolutely killing it in the transfer portal. Projected running back one Iowa Dei has committed to the Dukes from North Texas following a 1,000-yard rushing season, which means the Dukes get a game-changer at the position, with the 2021 Conference USA freshman All-American bringing his talent to JMU for his final year of eligibility. Alongside Adai, JMU's picked up a commitment from former top 150 recruit George Pettaway from North Carolina, an extremely explosive back to pair with Adai in 2024. They also focus on depth at the position a little bit, bringing in running back Tyler Purdy from Holy Cross, where in limited reps he has shown some potential to fight for some playing time in 2024. They're also retaining running back Wayne Knight, a player who put his intent to transfer out in October and has decided to come back and play for Chesney in 2024. It's a very interesting backfield. I'm excited to see how it works, but it is an absolute masterclass from Chesney in how to reload a position. Finally, on the offensive side of the ball, is tight ends coach Drew Kanaan. The reason I say kinda is because Kanaan is also the special teams coordinator, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. In terms of the tight end position, JMU will have to go to another player that hasn't seen that much of the field but has shown a lot of potential in Kaiu Wright. Wright was a player that was acquired in 2022 from Pitt. He is a very promising prospect, and I cannot wait to see what he can do as a tight end one for the Dukes in 2024. Another player in that tight end room is Taylor Thompson, a tight end that I do see a lot of potential in and could see some very meaningful reps in 2024 alongside Wright. There's not a ton to say about the tight end room, but I do think that it is incredible that Dylan Morris will have two great safety blankets ready for him at any time. Overall, I am very excited about this offense. There are a lot of coveted transfers coming in to work alongside the talent that is already at JMU, and I feel like this coaching staff really does have the ability to unlock that potential. I'm personally looking forward to this offense having a lot of success in 2024, but probably with an air raid system this time. Looking towards the defense, Chesney got an absolute home run hire in Duke co-defensive coordinator Lyle Hemphill, a man who guided Duke's defense to a season where only Florida State allowed fewer points in the ACC. Hemphill's defenses are elite at creating turnovers, with his defense last year creating 16 fumble recoveries and an overall turnover margin of plus 1.23. An exceptional hire for the Dukes, and in 2024 I would still expect our defense to be towards that sharp end. JMU's D-line was arguably the best in 2023, with standout Jalen Green. The line itself only allowed 61.5 rushing yards, which was the fewest in college football. To replace former D-line coach Pat Kuntz, Chesney's brought in D-line coach Sam Daniels after a 2-year stint as the D-line coach at Delaware. Daniels was also a 2-time All-American in his time at JMU as a player. He brings a lot of knowledge of the area with him, which I think will be a huge boost in recruiting, making him quite a suitable replacement for Kuntz. As for the players, James Carpenter, Mikhail Kamara, and Abi Nwaboko Okonji have all entered the portal, with the former two committing to Indiana. With recruit Marcellus Nash, as well as transfer portal additions, D-end Lloyd Sumerall III from USF, Syracuse D-tackle Terry Lockett, and LIU defensive end Eric O'Neill having all committed to the Dukes as of the time of recording. All four of these players I feel like have extremely high ceilings and could honestly all see playing time for the Dukes in 2024, but Daniels can definitely help them reach their ceiling, and that's something I'm very excited for in 2024. Zach Sparber has been brought on as that linebackers coach for JMU in 2024, which is the position that honestly lost the most, but ironically also had the biggest gain. As of recording this, all three linebackers that received significant playing time for the Dukes in 2023 have entered the portal. Jalen Walker and Aiden Fisher have committed to Indiana, and Torres Jones is still just in the portal, so I'm very hopeful we can get him back. Chesney did bring Jacob Dobbs with him from Holy Cross. Dobbs is a 2-time Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year and likely leader of the JMU defense in 2024 for his final year of eligibility. As for Sparber, he's been a Duke defensive analyst since February 21, but he follows Hemphill to work with the revamped linebacker core in 2024 for JMU. I personally cannot wait to see what Dobbs, Trent Hendrick, and signees Anthony Walker and Manny Esiogu can do in 2024. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility of a linebacker being added after the recording of this video, because it is a pretty scarce position even with those four. As for the secondary for the Dukes, the charge is being led by Anthony D. Michelle, with Kyle Barnes on staff for corners, and Eddie Whitley Jr. being retained from Cignetti's staff to work with the Rovers. players. DB really is a position I'm looking at to improve the most for the Dukes this year. With D'Angelo Pons having evolved into that true CB1 for the Dukes, and Chauncey Logan Jr. pulling his name back and coming back to play for Chesney again after improving a lot in the final games of 2023, I see this actually being a way better secondary than last year, especially with coveted recruits KJ Flo, Chase Regan, Ty Hopper, Philip Harris, Milton Ferguson, and Tyler Brown coming in for the 2024 season. JMU will have an extremely young secondary in 2024, but I feel like that's actually a good thing because it gives this coaching staff that ability to mold them into the type of player they want to be, and they don't have to break any bad habits that the players might have. I absolutely would not rule out some transfer portal additions for the spot, especially since DB is a position the coaching staff has already taken a look at a lot in the portal. Overall, this defense has the potential to be even more shut down than last year's, and that's saying a lot. Come spring ball, I plan on being there for as many practices as I can, and I really want to focus on this secondary. I cannot wait to see this defense in action this year because Chesney has assembled an absolutely superhuman staff to lead them. For special teams, Drew Cannon has been one of the best in the business recently, blocking 8 punts, leading the nation and putting the FBS on notice. Speaking of punts, the Dukes were also able to keep punter Ryan Hansen, who I personally believe to be one of the top 5 punters in the nation. I mean, seriously, just watch the Marshall game. You'll understand what I mean. Camden Wise will remain a place kicker for JMU as well, which is a huge boost for the special teams, as he is one of the most consistent kickers in FBS right now. And with punter/kicker Max Lipinski coming in tentatively to JMU, special teams is set up for the future, and I truly do see some great complementary football coming out from this group. Finally, JMU has hired strength and conditioning coach Jason Novak, formerly of Michigan State, under Mel Tucker. In my opinion, Michigan State was one of the most physical teams this past year, and I really want that fire to be brought to Harrisonburg. Combine that with this program's recent success, and you have an absolute recipe for a dominant football team. Overall, JMU is set for the future with this hire, and Chesney is building an absolute powerhouse in the Valley. JMU is certainly a team to keep an eye on for that college football playoff bid for the G5s. The culture and the hunger to win has lasted within this fan base for a long time now, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. And this team really does seem ready to meet and break expectation. But anyways, that was my review of what I think Bob Chesney brings to JMU in 2024 and what I think the program will look like a little bit in the near future. For more content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below what team you'd like me to do next. Expect more videos like this, but also expect some NFL draft content coming soon. And as always, see you in the next one.